in Chavez Ravine, and now they have made things even more interesting. They have taken 2 of 3 from the Chicago Cubs at Busch Stadium. Hello, Chris Ranji. How are you?
Good, man. Let's bleep and go. What do you think?
I like it. I like that assertiveness.
Like I've been a little spicy today.
Have you? What happened?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Just been spicy.
Tell me about your previous show.
I've been well. You don't want to know. I've been spicy all day. Been spicy talking about Cardinals baseball. Been spicy talking about the weekend they've had, and like you mentioned, taking 2 or 3 from the Dodgers, and wondering if okay, this is just flat out.
Oh, I like this.
Optimism. This is Tom Ackerman optimism.
Come on.
This is Tom optimism. This is me saying, hey, I know they made these trade deadline deals. They traded away from the roster. But what if we get to the middle of September and they're a game or so out of a wild card? What if, Tom?
Let me give you a little bit of sunshine. Okay.
All right.
And then we're going to get real. But let me just start with the sunshine.
All right.
So they were sellers at the deadline, but they did what they had to do only.
Yeah.
They traded Maton, Matz, and Helsley. We all know that. But they are 5-4 since then, including a tough series against a very good Padres team in which they lost 2 of 3, but then they take 2 of 3 from the Dodgers and 2 of 3 from the Cubs. They also are 3 for 3 when Romero is the closer. He has converted all 3 save chances. This is the big one now because it's Adam Wainwright. I'm going to read you his tweet if you haven't already on the air, but he posted something on Saturday about his thoughts on the Cardinals possibly being a wild card team. I didn't say it. Wainwright said it. All right. St. Louis is a game over 500. So you've got to get a well above 500 to be considered a player, but they are only 3.5 games out of a wild card spot behind the Mets, who are reeling. And usually that's the formula for getting back into it. Somebody has to collapse. The Mets have lost 7 in a row.
Yeah.
This is the big one, though. 13 of their next 16 games are against teams currently under 500. I will repeat that. 13 of the next 16 are against teams under 500. So if you've had the pipe dream of the Cardinals turning things around and becoming a playoff contender, this is your chance. They have to capitalize on this 16-game stretch, starting with 3 games against the Rockies, who took 2 out of 3 against you. Now, let me turn it around and give you the bad news, and that is that the Cardinals' rotation outside of Michael McGreevy and Sonny Gray has been subpar, to say the least. Matthew Liberatore doesn't go deep enough. Palante got shelled in his last game, and Miles Michael is through batting practice in his last game. But Michael, if I'm the Cardinals, Michael starts tonight against the Rockies, so here's why I'm bringing this up. If I'm the Cardinals, it's not this easy. You can't set it up this way, I don't think, but I'm trying as hard as I can to start Michaelis at home only or as much as possible. Where he gets crushed is on the road. Michaelis has a 6.49 ERA over his last 12 starts, and overall 12 starts on the road this season, 6.47 ERA. That is not good. But at home this season, in 10 home starts, a 3.67 ERA. That's a dramatic difference.
It is. That's a huge difference. And it is easier to do this with a month and a half left to go in the season than it would be. Obviously, you wouldn't be able to do it in July. You couldn't do it in June, but you can minimize the amount of starts he gets, on the road. You could do that. It just would be still tougher, just not as tough as it would have been middle of the summer. Now, none of this, whatever they do to try and win for the rest of the year, Tom, should be at the expense of the bigger picture goal, which is to find out about players, McGreevy, whatever. Look, and I started this by saying, hey, maybe, you never know, September, they might. And I say it half jokingly because I know what this team is. I'm not stupid, but there's just that little part of me that thinks it'd be nice to be competitive in the final week or 2 of the season, like legitimately competitive. But even if they are, none of it should be done at the expense of, again, the main goal of this team, which is to give reps to players that you need to find out more about, that you need more data on, that you need to make decisions about for 2026 and beyond. That's what this is. The number one job of the organization and the manager, Ollie Marmol, is that. That's what you got to do down the stretch.
Definitely. Now, that said, in 20 days, when this month is over, wouldn't you like to be playing meaningful games in September? At least have a little fun in September. And so that means, as I mentioned, 16 games cover that period of time. The Cardinals will get some days off, but not a ton. But they'll get a little bit here and a little bit there, including this Thursday. Wouldn't you love to be at least playing some meaningful games in the month of September? And the Cardinals do have 6 more games against the Reds, the team that one of the teams they're chasing. I can't imagine that the Mets are going to fall apart any more than they already have. But Ryan Helsley and Edwin Diaz blew it yesterday against the steamrolling Milwaukee Brewers, who are up 6 games in the Central.
They're again trying to win 10 in a row. I mean, dude, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know how this is happening. I don't know how. I will not get over the fact that 2 months ago I said that team was over. That I said this was going to be a 2-team National League Central race with the Cubs and Cardinals. And I think the Cubs at the time led the division. And now they are 6 games behind Milwaukee. The way the Brewers have been playing is absolute madness.
And the Cubs offense is horrendous. All right. So
I can't believe that's happening.
I mean, I will give all credit. Sonny Gray was great. Riley O'Brien and JoJo Romero were terrific. They closed the game. You have to give credit to the Cardinals pitchers because they did the job. Saturday, not so much, but Friday and Sunday was wonderful, but the Cubs offense is horrendous. It got so bad that Pete Crow Armstrong was pinch hit for last night with Justin Turner. And actually, Cubs fans and media, a lot of them were like, yeah, actually, that makes sense. That's because PCA has been that bad. I mean, this is a guy that was being touted for MVP. I think ESPN was planning to, well, they did. They mic'd him up, and Páez hit a home run over his head. And then he singled, stole second, and got picked off by Sonny Gray in the middle of what was probably going to be some soliloquy about Pete Crow Armstrong. He was
having an MVP season for a while because he was doing it in the field too.
But he's fallen apart at the plate, and the Cubs can't hit. I don't know what their problem is, but they can't hit. They were 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position, meaning they only had 3 chances with a runner in scoring position. They failed on all 3. Cardinals only had 4 hits and won the game.
You know, I know the Cardinals are in a very frustrating position right now. I don't think it's as frustrating as it could be, because we all want to see them win. We're tired of the sub 500, around 500 seasons. We want to go back to winning. We want to go back to consistent playoff appearances, or at least working for the playoffs, with the assumption you're probably going to get there. You know, I want to get back to that. However, can you imagine being a Cubs fan, watching all of this happen, watching the trade deadline? This team had one of the top 2 records in baseball at the time. You desperately need starting pitching, and your organization, with all the resources in the world, goes and gets you Mike Soroka, who pitches 2 innings for you and is on the IL. I mean, can you imagine being a fan of that team? How pissed would you be if you're a Cardinals fan and that's what they do at the deadline?
And a lot of your friends are Cubs fans, and mine too, but you probably more than me, having a lot of Chicago connections. They have to be still up in arms about the trade deadline.
Your guy Kaplan, man, Cap is
hot.
Oh, dude, he should be.
He was crushing. He was crushing the umpire kid. He was crushing everybody.
The umpire.
He hated everything about the weekend. He hated everything. I love Cap so much. He hates the Cardinals with a passion. You think that Cubs fans don't hate the Cardinals? Just ask David Kaplan. This is least favorite team in all of sports. Hates us.
It's so funny.
Hates everything about Cardinals and Cardinal. He likes us, but he doesn't like the Cardinals. But yeah, they have to still be hot about no activity at the deadline. How do they not drop the hammer at the deadline? Do they not have resources? I mean, what in the heck is going on?
They have all of them. They have basically 2 ballpark villages. It feels like, you know, they've owned all of the real estate around the ballpark. I mean, how do you? I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah,
I don't know what they're doing. Sorry, it's not my problem.
No,
but
there are a lot of Cubs listeners in our audience. I mean,
sure.
they're tuning in to hear what we say about them, and they're probably nodding in agreement that as much as we're going to praise the Cardinals for toughing it out and being great, and Yachty being there and all the energy and stuff, the Cubs don't look like the Cubs that we saw earlier this year.
And I'm fairly tough on the Cardinals when they are a more competitive team, because I have high expectations of them as the Cardinals. Did I say Cubs? The Cardinals, because I expect them to push. And sometimes I want them to push a little harder than they do when it comes to the trade deadline or the offseason. That's what I want, because they have, and it really, that's on them, because they have told us we're a champion. We're fighting for championships all the time. That's this organization. We're always going to be in the mix. So I've had more expectations of them. However, because of it, we've had this conversation before, Tom. I don't always like the attitude of, just get to the playoffs and we'll see what happens, because anything can happen in the playoffs. Well, yeah, but the point is, you limit the amount of, you decrease the margin of error. You make your team as good as possible going in so that you are more evenly stacked with teams like the Dodgers and Phillies and so on and so forth. But in a year like this, if they end up like a game out of the playoffs, or miraculously just squeak in and get, curb stomped right away, I'll think that's a successful season, because they weren't supposed to be anywhere near that going into the year. So this is one of those, I will be happy with something like that. Previous years, I want a little more push, not this year.
Cardinals played a little spoiler this weekend. You know what else is kind of funny is that Craig Counsell is their manager, the Chicago's manager, and look what the Brewers are doing.
And that proves my point about managers. He's considered one of the best in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And his team that he used to be with is 6 games in front of the team that he's currently on. What does that tell you about the importance of roster over everything else?
There was so much going on this weekend at Busch Stadium. We're going to take a break, go more into this series that just happened and the one that's coming up.
And also, we have tickets to give away.
Oh.
We've got tickets for Cardinals Rockies. That game will be tomorrow.
Tomorrow's night game. All right. You have a 6:45 the next 2 days, and then Wednesday is a day game, Michael McGreevy. But we're going to do the Tuesday game.
Yeah. Got to be listening for your chance to win those
on this
tickets.
Show.
Yeah,
this
on this show.
Okay, very good. That's Chris Ranji. I'm Tom Ackerman. Our producers are Tyler Rosen back in the house, and Frank Ladd will be back in a moment. On the Gashouse Gang, we're sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Calling all future sportscasters. Sharpen your skills and learn from the best of the Missouri Broadcasters Association Sportscasters Forum, Tuesday, September 16th in St. Louis. Join Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and the legendary John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, for insider sessions on play-by-play, interviewing, reporting, and more. Then cap the day with a Cards-Reds game at Busch Stadium. Open to college students and broadcasting pros. Just $10 for students, lunch, and a game ticket. Space is limited. Register by September 2nd at Missouri Broadcasters.
When you get hurt, you don't want to end up on the injured list. You want to get back in the game stronger than ever. At Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, we fight for you, making sure big insurance doesn't throw you a curveball. With over $25 billion recovered, we're the home run hitters you need.
This is way out there and gone.
Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Proud sponsor of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
At Tax Relief Advocates, we get it. Thinking about back taxes to the IRS can be very unsettling. Don't lose hope. With thousands of 5-star Google reviews and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, TRA is resolving taxpayers' delinquent tax problems nationwide once and for all. We could significantly reduce and even eliminate what you owe the IRS. If you haven't filed your taxes in years or are already facing collections, we can help. We aren't just some run-of-the-mill tax service company. We specialize in helping individuals and businesses with $10,000, $50,000, or even $500,000 in back taxes get speedy resolution. And in many cases, only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. The IRS isn't going anywhere, and neither is your tax problem. To see what tax relief you qualify for, visit TRA.com or call 800-335-8578. 800-335-8578. Again, that's 800-335-8578. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people. We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hey guys, Glover here from my friends at Universal Windows Direct. We have all definitely been feeling the heat this summer, and if your home isn't staying cool, your windows could be the reason why. You can blast the AC all day long, but if your windows aren't doing their job, all that cool air is going out the window, literally. Never a better time to buy. Buy 2 windows, get 2 for free, and there's no limit and no interest for 5 whole years. That's 60 months of zero interest financing. Call 314-334-2522 or go to universalwindowsdirect.com.
You asked, we delivered. KMOX, now on FM. Crystal clear sound at 104.1 FM.
Gashouse Gang on KMOX. The other thing that Cubs did yesterday was, just like uncharacteristic. They're supposed to be an elite defensive team. Kyle Tucker on a base hit by Nolan Gorman. In fact, let's play it. So first, let me set this up. Nolan Gorman commits an error, a throwing error in the 5th inning where he throws one wide to Wilson Contreras. It's just not a good play on Gorman's part. And this is one of those things you're going to have to live with. He's still working on footwork and positioning and fielding and, he's not a Nolan Arenado. I mean, nobody is, but he's got to be better. But anyway, he throws the ball wide. Contreras can't tag Swanson, and so it's a throwing error. It's E5. And then the batter is Matt Shaw, and he slams a home run. So that ties the game. 2-run homer. Error comes back to haunt him. Tying run. Let's advance now to the 7th inning. Sonny Gray just finished 7 innings. Bottom of the 7th. Jordan Walker is in scoring position, and here's the call.
Takes his lead. Iminaga delivers to Gorman, swing, and a base hit to right field. Walker rounds third, he's headed home. Throw to the plate, not in time. Down to second and safe is Nolan Gorman. The Cardinals take the lead. Nolan Gorman delivers in the 7th.
And on that play, he drives in the run, but Kyle Tucker, for some reason, takes the ball and throws a rocket home to try to get like he's going to get Jordan Walker, but it wasn't even close. And Gorman takes second base. It's a little thing, but dude, hit the cutoff, man. I mean, now you got another guy in scoring position. It can start to snowball on you. It's just a weird thing, but good for Nolan Gorman to come through like that. You're seeing more growth out of him. You just don't ever want to toss away players with high ceilings, Chris. And Nolan Gorman, to me, still has a very high ceiling.
When we talked to Ali, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, and I think I'm the one who asked the question about Gorman not having yet ever in his short career, it's been about 4 years, but never really having a season where he is the everyday starter at a position every single day, where he has really just been coming in, filling in, or he has had occasional starts, but it has not been the thing where Nolan Gorman from April through September, barring injuries, has been the everyday starter at any position. And we were talking about how much does that matter, because he hasn't had the benefit of that. And Ali is right when he says, it's the big leagues, and at some point you're just going to have to figure it out. If you're not getting that everyday playing time, you have to figure it out. And he is right about that. However, I wonder if some players grow differently. And if some players do need to be the guy, whether they're playing second or third or splitting time between the two, they just know they're in the lineup every single day. How much does that matter for their growth? Maybe it's a thing for him where it would make a difference. I don't know. So I think both ends of that are correct. At some point, if you're not going to get that opportunity to be the everyday guy, you have to figure it out, because it is a difficult league and a lot of people go through adversity and have to overcome it to eventually become everyday major leaguers. There's that part of it. And the other part is maybe he would come along faster if he were getting everyday playing time, which makes me wonder how different his season would have gone had Arenado been dealt in the offseason.
Right. You're absolutely right. And maybe we're seeing that now as Arenado is on the IL. He's working his way back down in Jupiter and thought to be ready to join the team in Miami when they play the Marlins on the road, but we don't know that for sure yet. And then the other thing in that inning was Walker's hit. I mean, he hit a nice solid hit out into center field. He stole second to set up that run scoring hit by Gorman that ended up being the game winner. And I feel like they're interconnected. Walker and Gorman are the two poster boys for runway, I would say. Either you wanted to get the most you could out of him. As you said, Gorman somewhat blocked with the presence of Donovan and Arenado, whereas Walker was pretty much given right field. He struggled for a lot of this year. I mean, that home run he hit on Friday was his first since May, I do believe.
Yeah.
And it was crushed.
Now, Gorman,
he crushed it.
He's had a really nice August. It hasn't been spectacular, but it has been nice. 795 OPS, so that is above average. You're getting to that point where you're doing pretty well, and he's hitting for average at over 300. The one thing that is I don't like where the strikeouts are. I don't like where they are for the last couple of months. He was at 38% striking out last month. This month, he's at 36. Want to see that come down. Want to see the walks come up a little bit more. But it's hard to argue with the results and the production because they have been there. So the more playing time he gets, and I hope that we are in a situation for the last 6 weeks or so of the season, he's out there every single day with an occasional off day like you give players anyway. But they've got to make a decision on him. They have to figure out between now and the offseason, and I guess during the offseason, what they want to do with him. And do you want to start 2026 with him as an everyday guy somewhere? These next 6 weeks can go a long way in figuring that out.
Cardinals won that game yesterday without Arenado, without Donovan, who was being rested again with a groin injury, and without Nootbaar in the lineup.
Yeah,
they do the job. They beat the Cubs 3-2. They take 2 out of 3, and that Walker home run on Friday, which we'll talk to John Rooney about here next, was quite a sight. I mean, he was very centered, calm, with a violent result on that swing. It just looked, it was a thing of beauty. It's kind of what you wanted out of Walker this
need
whole
more
time.
Of that from him.
You know, how he reaches for pitches, or sometimes these guys have that long swing. That was a shorter, controlled, balanced. He was centered, and he hit that ball 434 feet.
He's going to do a lot better as long as he's not beating the ball into the ground, which has kind of been a problem for him for, the early part of his career. Let's give away those tickets, shall we?
Yeah, first home run for him, by the way, since May 17th. I looked that up. Yeah, let's give away some tickets.
All right. Game tomorrow, 4-pack of tickets for the Cardinals Rockies at Busch Stadium. Let's give it away to caller number, Tom.
Caller number 5.
To the contest line at 314-955-1120. 955-1120. Good luck.
It is the Gashouse Gang, sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. When we come back, the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney, is with us on a Monday, a victory Monday, if you will, after the Cardinals took 2 out of 3 from the Cubs, and the Rockies are here for a game tonight. Back after this.
At 5, when others are running out of steam, the Redbird Rush Hour hits the gas. Kevin Wheeler, Matt Pauley, and Bernie Miklasz bring sharp analysis, fresh insight, and no recycled takes. Real baseball talk for fans who know the game. Redbird Rush Hour, weekdays at 5 on 104.1 FM KMOX, the voice of St. Louis, the unrivaled voice of baseball.
It is 88 degrees in St. Louis. The AccuWeather Real Feel is 102. Yuck. The weather is brought to you by Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyers is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson. Paid for by Action Matters. Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Attention parents of children who have used the gaming platform known as Roblox. If your child was a victim of sexual abuse or harm of any kind while using the Roblox platform, you may be entitled to compensation. Roblox is facing multiple high-profile lawsuits, including an ongoing class action, alleging it failed to protect users from foreseeable dangers that led to the grooming, exploitation, and sexual abuse of minors on the platform. Claims allege Roblox turned a blind eye to predators, unsafe games, and deceptive monetization practices that targeted children. Victims were contacted through in-game chats and coerced into private conversations on third-party apps. If you believe your child may have been a victim of grooming, sexual abuse, or harm of any kind while using the Roblox platform, you may be entitled to a cash settlement. Text our helpline now to find out if you have a viable compensation claim against Roblox. Text GONE to 32 32 32. That's GONE to 32 32 32. GONE to 32 32 32.
Named one of Newsweek's world's best hospitals for 2025, Anderson Hospital is your hospital for life, delivering exceptional, compassionate care to families across the Metro East. From emergency services to specialized treatments, our dedicated team supports your health at every stage. Experience world-class care close to home. Discover the difference at andersonhospital.org.
The KMOX City SC Soccer Showcase, presented by Michelob Ultra. Heads to Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill in Wentzville, Thursday, August 14th. A limited number of fans can get an autograph or a picture with City SC left back Jay Reed. Register to win great prizes, enjoy great food and a cold drink. Hot Shots in Wentzville, the place to be Thursday, August 14th from 6 till 8 p.m. for the City SC Soccer Showcase, presented by Michelob Ultra. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley for i3 Broadband, the internet provider in the Pauley household. I think you'd love it if you had them as well. We've got the 2 gig package at our home, 2 gig upload, 2 gig download mirrored, and we're spending less money than we did with the cable company for lesser service. Plus, right now, they've got savings over $400 beyond their already low standard pricing. You got questions? They've got answers. Call 877-976-0711, and they've got people there who can answer all your questions, or head to their website, i3broadband.com.
Summer is here. Time to enjoy baseball, barbecues, and the shade of your trees. When it comes to tree care, call the certified arborist at Gamma Tree Experts. Hi, I'm Tim Gamma. Protect your valuable trees from storm damage or devastating insects such as the emerald ash borer. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. For pruning, spraying, fertilization, or removals, call Gamma Tree Experts today at 314-725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
Today, the Cards, the Rockies.
Ameren Total Access 550.
Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Now, the John Rooney Conversation on KMOX. Sponsored by Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. And if you're a Missourian, we're for you.
Second for Chicago. The 1-1 pitch here for Shaw. Swing and a ground ball right to Sajasi. He steps on second. That's a Redbird winner. And a series win over the Chicago Cubs. Light it up in downtown St. Louis. The Cardinals take 2 out of 3 from the Cubs, winning a 1-run game tonight, 3-2.
John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, with that call on KMOX last night. Sunday night game of the world, as John likes to say. And the Cardinals won that ball game. 2 out of 3 they take from the Cubs and pull themselves to within 3.5 games of the final wild card spot in the National League. That did not prompt Adam Wainwright to make his post. He actually posted this on Saturday afternoon before the Cardinals got blown out after their 5-0 victory on Friday, and maybe the presence of Yadier Molina in the dugout got Waino a little excited. But he said the following on X, the app formerly known as Twitter. He said, I'm looking at the schedule. I'm calling it now. The Cardinals shock everybody and are playing for a wild card spot on the last series of the season against the Cubs. Cubs Cards last 3 days of the regular season at Wrigley could be wild. says Wayno. He is correct. It would be wild if the Cardinals were going for a wild card spot at Wrigley Field the last weekend of the year. It takes a long time to get to that spot, I believe. You're still only a game over 500, so there's a long way to go. But at the same time, there's a long way to go. And he did eye the schedule, as we just mentioned, 13 of the next 16 are under 500. But the Cardinals are just a 500 team themselves, so a game over. So they're going to have to play up to everybody at this point. But a nice showing post-deadline.
Yeah, well, I didn't expect it, and it does happen sometimes. We talked about the Tigers, who are in a much different position than the Cardinals were. Last year, the Tigers were still a good team. But they had a similar deadline. And here they are going to the playoffs anyway, making a bit of a run. That was in 2024. I'm not saying the Cardinals are the 2024 Tigers, but it can happen. And if they do, I want them to play some games that kind of matter when we get to the end of the season. And I think it is still possible for that to happen.
That would be great for their development, actually.
I think it would. I don't know how much it matters to be on a winning team or a really, truly competitive team in your first, 2-3 years of being a big leaguer. I can't measure that value, but I do think there is value in it. There's value in getting reps on a team that's doing well or that is fighting for a playoff spot. At least you have a taste of it. You know what it's like to be a game or two out of the postseason and trying to play catch up and feeling like, oh man, if we win today, we can make some progress and who knows what can happen. I think there is some value in it.
There absolutely is. And especially if you can apply some pressure to these young players and something is on the line. Not that there isn't now. Of course, they're all playing for positions and jobs and everything like that. But there's something different when you're playing for the possibility of getting your team a little closer to a playoff spot and seeing how you respond in those scenarios. Are we good to go? No, okay.
We're not.
Yeah, we're reaching out to John Rooney, but we'll give it another shot here in just a little bit. But Wainwright's comment, I think, is fun. If you go back, and a lot of our listeners certainly would remember this, but in 2011, Knights of the Cauliflower Ear Dinner at the Missouri Athletic Club was not broadcast, but I was in the house for that. In fact, I was holding the microphone, and I approached Wainwright at the table for the crowd, went out into the crowd to interview players, as Klebs and I would do at that dinner. And I asked Wainwright, who had Tommy John surgery and was out for the year, how do you approach this moving forward? The team was 10.5 games out that night. I'll never forget it. They got swept by the Dodgers. It was a hot August night, and it was rock bottom, it felt like. And he said, well, I'm not going to be negative, I'll tell you that, because that doesn't do anybody any favors. So I have to be the cheerleader around here. So I'm going to say this to the crowd. The Cardinals are what, 10.5 out? How many more games do they have against the Brewers? 6? He said, if they win all 6, they're 4.5 out, right? He said, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to sit there and see the Cardinals coming at 4.5 out in the month of September. The crowd's like, yeah. So he said, so let's go see what they can do, or something along those lines. And lo and behold, they did. They came from 10.5 back. Now, completely different team. That team,
totally different. Yeah.
I mean, come on. That team had Chris Carpenter,
right,
Albert Pujols. We don't have to tell you. You go right down the line, all those great ones. But, and not to mention Tony La Russa managing, but it is kind of fun to think about. And Adam getting those feelings again, and he's at it again and put it out there for everybody to see. So we'll see.
Yeah, I hope they make it fun. Just make it fun down the stretch. But as we said earlier, main job is to get as much playing time for younger players as possible. So managing that workload for everybody is number one. Yadier Molina in the dugout over the weekend. Excited Cardinals fans who obviously love him, and he's I think he will always be beloved here. I mentioned this during the Chris and Amy show, Tom. I happen to like Oliver Marmol. I think he's good at what he does. I'm not saying he's perfect, but I do think he is a good manager. I think he's actually managed this roster pretty well, given what he has on it. I mean, his hands are tied in a lot of respects. So I don't know how much more we could have expected from him. We can't expect him to make all of his starters throw more innings and be effective in doing it. You can't, there's nothing a manager can do about that. There's nothing a manager can do about having a thin rotation. That's the rotation he's got. What do you want him to do? So I think I believe that he's pretty good at that job. So what I said earlier was I would caution people against clamoring for Yadier Molina to be your manager. And this for a couple of reasons. First is the roster thing. Managers largely are successful based on how many good players they have on their teams. And if they don't have a lot of good players on their teams, they're not going to win. It is that simple. But I think people think sometimes that if Yadi had been the manager of this team, that the outcomes would be totally different. We'd be talking about a first-place Cardinals team in the National League Central. And while Yadier Molina, really, really smart baseball guy, and he is known by his teammates for being brilliant in terms of having a baseball mind, he's not going to have the kind of influence you think he's going to have. It's all about the roster. So, in saying that, there's also a good possibility that he becomes the manager someday and the team's not very good. And then people start to turn on him a little bit, because I have seen that happen with really popular players.
What if
I've seen it happen? I saw it happen to Robin Ventura, beloved player. When he became the manager and that team that he managed sucked, and it wasn't his fault because he is also a smart baseball guy, everybody blamed him for it. And they called him an idiot. And I'm just telling you, I don't think in any way you can call Yadi an idiot, because he's not. He is a smart baseball guy. But it's possible he inherits a roster that's not good and they lose. Look at Joe Torre. Joe Torre became a great manager after he left St. Louis because he had the Yankees roster. It's all about that.
How many players go from their playing career? Now, granted, he's managed Puerto Rico in the World Baseball Classic, and he's also managed at some other levels, just right into Major League managing. What if a great scenario is that Yadi gets hired right where he was over the weekend, right by
bench coach,
his side, as one of the coaches?
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be the guy. That guy right now is Daniel Descalzo, but he's part of that crew. They just give him what he wants. And he doesn't have to sit there and answer all the reporters' questions every day and all of that other stuff. He can just be Yadier Molina's presence. I'm just drawing up a scenario just for fun to think about. But think about this. This was Ali's doing. All right. So this was not Yadi trying to step in. Anybody who's not updated on what happened, maybe you were out of town or you don't know the full story. Ali, I was on Friday morning with my plumber at my house, and we were going through his pipe solutions. Free plug from a man, Steve Merlo, client of KMOX. And we're doing a drainage system in the front yard, and my phone was elsewhere. And I went over to the phone, and I had missed a couple of calls from Ali. And I'm like, oh no, what happened? I mean, he's not calling unless it's big. And as it turns out, he was calling around, not just me, but he was calling people who cover the team on a regular basis to let them know what was happening and that this news was going to hit, that Yadier Molina was coming back. And he wanted to let people know that obviously he was part of this and he was aligned with it. And, he reached out to Yadi. Yadi reached out to him and he said, hey, why don't you just come? You've all probably heard the story by now, but he said, why don't you just come join me in the dugout? And Yadi said, I'll do it. So he put on the uniform and there they are in tandem along with the rest of the staff. It's a pretty cool thing, but it also makes you think about Ali being so comfortable in his skin right now. An insecure manager might look over his shoulder and say, oh, couldn't possibly have.
Actually, that would be, if he was insecure, that would be the absolute last person on earth you would invite into the dugout.
Exactly. So
there's literally nobody else you could invite into the dugout to be worse if you're insecure than him.
If you're wondering how well Ali thinks of his situation and his confidence in himself and how he's grown, there you go. I mean, I think that it was a pretty nice showing for Ali Marmol, quite honestly, if you're asking about where he is in his career at this stage. Very comfortable in his skin, very confident in the job that he's doing, very happy with his staff, and obviously a love for Yadier Molina. And there aren't many people who could pull that off. I mean, Yadi, if you haven't noticed, has not been around. And he was in the dugout for 2 games against the Cubs. That is a big deal. It's not the reason that they won Friday, and it didn't sell tickets. It's not like people flock to the ballpark to see
stare in the dugout.
Yachty sit there, but it was fun, and that's great. And it really helped. It got them a little bit of juice in the building. I thought on Friday, I was at Innsbruck at the time, another client plug. But I was watching it on TV, and you could just feel the energy coming out of the TV. The crowd sounded great, and it was fun. And McGreevy shoved, and it was a great day.
You know, you could not. I mean, I'm just thinking about this. The level of confidence you have to invite in what has been this has not been a tumultuous year because I don't think there were a lot of expectations going in anyway. But to invite one of the most popular players in the history of the franchise, who we know wants to be a manager someday, to ask him, hey, man, do you want to come sit in the dugout with me for a couple of games against the rival? How much confidence do you have to have in yourself to do something like that? And I got to tell you, I appreciate that because I want a manager that is confident in the decisions he makes, but is also capable of looking back on those decisions and having an honest assessment. Was that a good call or was that stupid? And why was it stupid? Or why was it good? Why did it work? And I think the manager they have right now is more than capable of doing that. So I know a lot of people don't care for him very much. I think they're wrong because I think he is pretty good at this. And I hope he's around next year. I hope in 2026 he's still the manager of the team. And I kind of hope it's beyond that because I'm not expecting the roster to be all that good in 2026. So I hope there's a little bit of patience with him.
Heimblum was paying attention, I'm certain, and it should be an interesting 2026. And I wonder if the Cardinals will have the ability to add just a piece. It doesn't have to be anything major, but just a little bit of, and preferably a starter, that can help this rotation push through. By the way, Major League Baseball announced a couple of hours ago that Hall of Famer Edgar Martinez and three-time All-Star Juan Gonzalez have been named to Yachty's coaching staff on Team Puerto Rico for the World Baseball Classic. That's pretty
Edgar
good staff.
Martinez, man.
It's a pretty good staff. Molina, Martinez, and Gonzalez. We will take a break. When we come back, more Gashouse Gang. We'll take your comments. This show is picking up some serious steam here all around Cardinal Nation, and we appreciate you very much. Ollie will be with us tomorrow.
Noon starts 12 o'clock with us just after the news, and with us a good 30, 40 minutes, and he answers all of your questions. And we love it. We love talking to him, and we love that we're able to give away things to you every now and then.
Who won?
Karen and Alton.
Karen.
You knew that was going to happen.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Karen and Alton won a 4-pack of tickets to go see the ball game tomorrow night.
Meanwhile, be nice to Karen because she has 3 tickets that she will give away to somebody.
Yeah.
She now holds 4 tickets.
And we don't think you've appreciated Karen enough. So you should reach out.
Steve Burns says Newt Bar is playing too much. There we go. That'll light the fire on some comments. We'll get back to that when we come back on the Gashouse Gang. It's great to be with you. Sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling and Anderson Hospital, and we'll be right back.
We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and we're here for all of life's wins. Like when you get a new car, or new boat, or new driver, or when your son moves out, but your mom moves in, or you find out you're expecting again, or when one rental property turns into 2, then 20, or you realize they're all in Tornado Alley. Life is full of life events, so call your Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance agent or visit mofbinsurance.com to find an agent near you, and we'll make sure you have the right coverage for each of life's wins.
We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and we're for the people of Missouri, in good times and in bad. We're for Missouri families and Missouri communities. We're for giving back to those communities and lifting people up. And when Missouri weather rips through our state, we're for helping put back the pieces. We're for brighter days and new tomorrows. We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and if you live in Missouri, we're for you.
How many of you think taxes are going to go up in the future? And if they do, who will be hit the hardest? Maybe it's you, headed for retirement. You've been saving in that 401k or IRA, and that money has never been taxed. and Uncle Sam is looking at that account like it's a big, juicy steak. What can you do about it? Join the All Financial Group for their Taxes and Retirement Seminar, Tuesday, August 26th or Thursday, August 28th at Fleming's. They believe a financial plan is not a retirement plan without a tax plan. Fund your retirement, not Uncle Sam's. Reserve your spot today by calling 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824 or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friend Mark Cantor at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, so I take this very seriously. Mark is a great attorney. He has a great team. He is from St. Louis. He is local. Call 314-628-9999 or visit cantorinjurylaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan, along with Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center. Doctor, tell us a little something about the history of the Audiology Center.
At the Audiology Center, we care about our patients. They are like our family. For us, we want everyone to feel comfortable and confident in their choice to work with us. We ensure best practices for our patients, which include real ear measurements and testing to ensure the best possible outcomes for everyone with their hearing aids. Dr. Fons started the Audiology Center in 1982, and I purchased the practice in 2017. Dr. Adam Voss joined us about a year ago, and we all want to use our educational backgrounds and our passion for hearing care to help everyone reconnect to their loved ones. We have been around for 43 years, and we want to earn your trust in your hearing care needs. We have 3 locations. Call us at 636-441-7470 or visit us online at theaudiologycenterstl.com.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-day kitchen and bath.
Maureen talks about her experience using 3-day kitchen and bath.
I had for years been dreaming how I wanted my kitchen down to every detail. When 3-day kitchen and bath came, they were thrilled to death that I knew exactly what I wanted. They came back with a drawing and it was perfect. It was exactly what I wanted. They came in, they did their thing, and it turned out as perfect as I imagined it. The quality of it is beautiful. It's amazing. It is beautiful. They were efficient. They were trustworthy. The recommendations were unquestionable. And they were going to do exactly what I wanted. I had a lovely experience.
Start your remodel today by visiting 3daykitchen.com.
At 3-day kitchen and bath.
Now back to the Gashouse Gang, sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling and by Anderson Hospital on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Just a few minutes in the show. So before I get into this question about Lars Nootbaar, man, what a job by the operations staff yesterday and the field staff. I mean, the grounds crew run by Bill Finley, Matt Gifford and his operations staff, just an incredible job of drying out Busch Stadium. I was there starting at 2:00 when the storm came. And it was a ton of water in a very short amount of time. The drains just can't handle all of that.
Yeah.
Somehow they squeegeed that out of the downstairs area, most of it. And then the field just takes on so much water, but it looked like nothing had happened when the game started. It's amazing.
Yeah. And you know, that's a really good job. Because I was coming back from Milwaukee area
yesterday,
and they got it really bad up there. They had some actual really bad flooding in the Milwaukee area. Their roof was leaking. Just from Brewers' perspective, the parking lots were leaking. I think the stadium was leaking. They had the roof sort of letting water in. It was bad up and down the Midwest yesterday, I guess.
It was. Well done.
Good job by everybody.
Well done by the Cardinals organization yesterday. What about Lars Nootbaar? Should he be playing less? Yes, says Steve Burns. You know what? Who's
I'm not sure what you're. Yes, I mean,
Victor Scott's a good defensive player. I mean, you look at Nootbaar right now is hitting 229. Scott's at 221. Nootbaar gets on base better than him, but you're going to see those two go back and forth. Burleson's not going to have a day off very often anymore. I mean, Ollie's already made that clear. He's passed that test. He's going to play as much as he can. He's a 280 hitter. And then you have Walker is Mr. Runway. I mean, they're going to get him as much as possible.
This is the perfect example of what I'm talking about. Your roster is your roster. What are you going to do? Call somebody up? That's not his job. Ollie Marmol is not responsible for calling up players. And even if you do, who's it going to be? So, I mean, you can say Nootbaar is playing too much. Okay, great. Give me the other option here. This is about the roster, and it's just not strong enough right now. So I don't know what you want the manager to do about that. He's not the GM too.
By the way, you know how many stolen bases Victor Scott has? 29. Now I know back in my day, there were 100 by Vince Coleman, but Victor Scott's fourth in the National League in stolen bases. Just saying.
Yeah, that's
for a guy who doesn't get on base a ton.
It's pretty good.
It's not bad.
Now you just got to get the first base.
He tried to bunt his way on yesterday.
Do whatever you got to do.
Thanks for joining us on the Gashouse Gang with Chris Ranji, Tom Ackerman. Bernie Miklasz joins us tomorrow with the manager, Ollie Marmol. We thank you for being with us and tune in tonight. Matt Pauly will have pregame at 5:50.
Fairwinds River's Edge is more than a place to live. It's a place to belong. Come see why we have been voted